right now. Let's talk IPOs, a little volatility that has since subdued in the market since the beginning of the month. Joining us from the NASDAQ, Madeline Radner is director at the Market Intelligence Desk. Madeline, welcome back to the Schwab Network.
Hi, Oliver. Thanks for having me back on.
Absolutely. So what happened in the last month, basically? We had this big vol scare. Things cooled off. Does that mean confidence is coming back for companies to go public, or do they get shell-shocked?
Yeah, you know, the IPO market has been relatively muted really since the second to last week in July. I think when we last spoke, when Lineage and OneStream and a handful of other deals did go public that week. And over the past couple weeks, we've seen kind of a slower progression of deals come to market. And we will expect that to continue through the remainder of the year and post-Labor Day holiday. That said, when we look at the pipeline, there's still a really robust and active group of companies currently on file to list here in the U.S. There's over 200 companies still on file to list on a U.S. exchange. Something that we have been noticing actually is an increase in biopharma company filings to go public here. Just last week, there were 3 biotech companies who filed for the first time to go public with the SEC. You know, as the cost of capital does get lower in the near term, I think we'll continue to see this trend. I think we'll continue to see different sectors who will benefit from a lower cost of capital really move forward with their IPO plans, specifically biotech, who doesn't always have a path to profitability right away.
Okay, that's interesting to see kind of where some of the sector preferences. It's almost like, does it like have a snowball effect? Like if somebody sees someone in their industry go public, like does that kind of like spur on like a domino effect? I kind of noticed to go through like patches of sectors that seem to be interested at the same time.
Yeah, I do think so. I think everyone wants to see a successful deal come to market and they'll follow suit. Again, 3 biotech filings in a row, kind of around the same time when Jay Powell made his statement. I think that will really spark continued interest in the market. We're also seeing a lot of other corporate action trends throughout the market. Separate from IPOs, we're seeing an increase in buyback activity across S&P 500 companies. You know, that could suggest increased confidence from executives who want to show investors what their future earnings and price will look like. We're seeing increased M&A activity as well. A lot of our public NASDAQ companies are getting picked up and acquired. And I think that's a sign of a healthy market. I think that's driving innovation, driving growth. And actually, according to FactSet, there's already been 102 NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange listed companies who've been acquired this year, with 117 still rumored to get acquired. So I think things are moving, and I think that will provide a nice runway for the IPO market moving forward.
Yeah, that's interesting. How do you think about that? Do you see them as basically being cut from the same cloth, M&A versus IPO? I mean, in some ways, they're obviously very related as corporate actions. Does one take away from the other? Is that like an alternative to some companies? If they're private, they just go, okay, well, maybe we'll stay private, get acquired, or is the path through IPO a faster way to kind of get that deal done?
I think it's a little bit of both. M&A typically does provide a nice runway for then companies to either, yes, think about getting acquired or going through with the public IPO path. And I think based on some of the confidence that we're seeing in the marketplace, really after Fed Powell's commentary last week, really after the stronger earnings growth forecast that we're seeing, companies are moving forward. Sectors that were staying on the sidelines are now jumping in and getting started with their IPO plans.
Okay, Madeline. Finally, the election as a impediment in the calendar, or no?
So historically, we usually see a bunch of companies list ahead of the election, and then within the election month, there's a little bit of a slowdown. I think given a lot of the other moving pieces in the marketplace and a lot of volatility in general, we won't see the same historic path that we've seen, but you never know. I think, again, 2025 is really where the IPO market will open back up. Okay.
Hey, one more actually, a bonus.
Yeah.
Because you guys watch all the corporate actions. I mean, buybacks should be in this conversation too, right? Sometimes instead of buying a company, they'll just buy back their own shares, and I feel like I've been seeing a lot of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, S&P, at least when we look at S&P 500 companies, they bought back about $200 billion in repurchases over the quarter, which is about a 30% jump from this time last year. And again, I think that's a good sign. It's showing that executives are pretty confident on where their stock is going to go.
Okay, great stuff. Thanks, Madeline. Appreciate it very much.